true that, because I have to say why I'm asking this question, because when I first read in the Mercury that the stack was going to come down, and I didn't read it until about 2 or 3 years ago, I wondered why you've got a stack in Port Pirie built exactly the same and it's not having to come down. You've got a stack here in Port Kembla that was built by probably one of the best engineering firms in Wollongong's history, a founder of the University of Wollongong, together with BHP. Why would it have to come down?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I went to the library and I looked up Department of Planning and Infrastructure Major Project 191 of 2008. And you can get that in the council's website, and you can get it in the library, and you can get it on your own computer. And I read there that in the permission for demolition, and it was permission, it was not an order for demolition, it was permission for demolition, because of some concrete cancer that was in there, which everybody knows can be fixed and wasn't right down it anymore. But they said in that report that the structure of the stack was okay, that there was no reason to doubt its structural integrity. But then they went on to say that for the cost, I think it was $13 million or 11 million, you could fix up the stack so that it was non-poisonous. You'd have to cover the asbestos like people cover fibro house asbestos, like any other way. They've got firms all over the world. They've got one here in Wollongong called Satcor, which can patch up this asbestos so that it never, they can patch up the whole lining of it and everything. But it was costly. It was $11 million. And then another $300,000 per annum just for the maintenance. So it was a commercial decision. It was a commercial decision. There is nothing wrong with the structural integrity of the stack now, and there was nothing wrong with it when the permission, not order, for demolition was given back in 2008. Now, I just asked you this one question. Do you deny that that report is correct? Because that report says clearly there is nothing wrong with the stack. That's it. Major project.
No, sorry, I said you're Mr. Richard, aren't you?
I'm sorry?
Are you Walter?
Yes.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
okay.
matter.
No, but I'm just refreshing my mind, memory.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember which report it is specifically report you're
For everyone
referring to.
here, Major Project 191/2008 on the Department of Planning and Infrastructure website. You can look it up on your own computer. You will find, and I believe other people in the room have looked it up.
So what you're referring to is the report that we prepared in as part of our submission.
It is
Is that the report you're referring to?
Yes, and it was
Okay, so can I
exactly
answer
the
your
one
question?
that was posted as the reason for permission by the Department of Planning and Infrastructure. It was a commercial decision.
So what I would say is that the stack at Port Pirie is because it's still part of an operating smelter. That's why it's going. Well, there may well be, but Walter mentions that why is the Port Pirie stack still up and we're intending to bring ours down. That's because Port Pirie is an operating smelter. I can tell you that if we were still operating, we would have maintained that stack and there would be no problem with it. So, can I please answer your question? I'd like to answer your question.
Completely clear. You're saying now that it is still structurally sound. That's what you are saying.
No, please don't put words in my mouth. What I'm saying to you And I'll say it quite clearly, if PKC was still in operation, then betwixt 2003 and today, we would have maintained that stack, and that stack would have had a life expectancy that would have lasted for years. Was it a commercial decision, which was the conclusion that you made? Well, of course it was a commercial conclusion. As the stack stands, back in 2003 when we shut down, later on when we realised that there would never be smelting on that site again, and we acknowledged that internally and then we acknowledged that with the authorities, then there was no way that we could earn any revenue to support that stack. Now, I realise that for many people it's an emotional issue, but for PKC we had to confront the maintenance of what is a very tricky structure to maintain. And so we applied to demolish all structures on site. Anybody can see on the site there at the moment, we've not demolished the bulk concentrate store, we've not demolished the refinery, we've not demolished the blend shed, we've not demolished the auxiliary building, we've not demolished the main workshop, and we've not demolished the canteen. So there's at least 6 structures there that at this stage we've got no intention of demolishing, despite having the planning approval to carry out that demolition. And we've done that because we think that there is economic utility in retaining those structures, which would be easy to demolish if we needed to, but there's economic utility in retaining them because we think that that is an opportunity to regenerate that site and get it working again and employing people again. With the stack, which we also applied for demolition at the same time, we looked at the stack and we can't afford to maintain it. There was nobody on the horizon who looked like it would maintain it. And so we applied for permission to demolish it because at some point it most definitely will become unstable and will fall down. Now, that's not going to happen this year or next year, in a couple of years. You can do anything with time and money. So if your group with, where's Ian gone? There he is. So if your group with Ian and Jeff and the other Jeff had been able to come up with the wherewithal, PKC would happily have stood aside and let you take over the stack. We do not have the wherewithal to be able to do that. Therefore, I think it's only professional, reasonable, and what most people would expect of us is to clean up after ourselves. And that's what bringing that stack down is. To me, it's a way of cleaning up after ourselves. Smelting is done and gone and finished. Nobody has come forward with the wherewithal to look after the stack. So yes, we're taking an economic commercial decision. We can't afford to keep it. Nobody else apparently can afford to keep it. So we're going to do the right thing, bring it down as safely as possible and with as minimum inconvenience to all our neighbours as possible.